I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong. I'll be satisfied as long as I walk. Let me walk close to thee, just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus, is my plea. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be. Through this world of toil and snares, if I falter, Lord, who cares? Who with me my burden share? None but thee, dear Lord, none but thee. When my feeble life is o'er, time for me will be no more. Guide me gently, safely o'er to thy kingdom shore, to thy shore. Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus, that's my plea. Daily walking close to thee. Just let it be, dear Lord, let it be. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be.
You can see that this church likes spirituals. So the last hymn, you'll get to participate in one again. The message this morning is entitled, Happiness Wherever You Go. The Old Testament reading this morning, which Jan read, from Psalms 127, which punctuates family happiness. And if we were to look at a New Testament reading, well, it could be from Matthew 5, where Jesus sits down with his disciples and gives his famous Sermon on the Mount. It's called the Beatitudes, where Jesus gathered his apostles together, overlooking the Sea of Galilee on this hillside, where incidentally they built a church, which has 8 sides, to commemorate the 8 Beatitudes. And during this sitting with his disciples, they asked him, Jesus, would you teach us how to pray? And this is where the Lord's Prayer came from. So with the Beatitudes, which we know in the New Testament, it's like the 10 Commandments are in the Old Testament. A famous theologian, and I can't remember who he was, maybe it was me, said, interrupting this passage that I have just talked about, or also interpreting it, Jesus' awesome forgiveness frees the believer from the clutches of sin in order to experience the true peace and happiness promised. Now, happiness, this noun which is derived from the family adjective happy, has too often eluded us because we are today a society of instant whatevers. We want instant credit approval. We want instant new homes. We want instant meals. We want instant food. We want instant coffee. We want instant healing. We want instant logon and downloading. And we want instant results from medication. Well, it goes on and on and on, because we don't have time to build up to what makes us happy. If we don't get what we want, well, we're unhappy, just like a baby. Maybe I'm overemphasizing this, but you get my point. The fundamental desire of every human being is that for a state of existence called happiness, and something should be done about it. Happiness is achievable, and the process of obtaining it, it's not complicated. Anyone who desires it, who wills it, and learns and applies the right formula, well, they may become a happy person. The happiness habit is developed by simply practicing happy thinking. Make a mental list of happy thoughts and pass them through your mind several times a day. If an unhappiness thought should enter your mind, immediately stop it. Substitute it for a happiness thought. Now try this. Every morning when you rise, lie relaxed there in bed and deliberately drop happy thoughts into your conscious mind. Let a series of pictures pass across your mind of each happy experience that you expect to have that day. Savor their joy. Such thoughts will help cause events to turn out that way. Do not affirm that things will not go well that day. Savor that joy. Such thoughts will help cause events to turn out that way. Now, do not affirm that things will not go well that day by merely saying that you can actually help to make it so. You will draw yourself in every factor, large and small, that will contribute to unhappy thoughts. As a result, you will find yourself asking, why does everything go badly for me? What is the matter with everything? The reason can be directly traced to the manner in which you began the day with your thoughts. Now try this plan. When you rise, say out loud 3 times this one sentence. This is a day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be happy in it. Only make it more personal. Say, this is the Lord that the day has made, and I will be happy and rejoice in it. Now, you know this is from the Bible, and if you repeat that one sentence 3 times, now before breakfast, and meditate on the meaning of the words, you will change the character of the day by starting out with a happiness psychology. I've heard that people wake up in the morning and they say, oh, it's going to be a bad day, and it's going to be a long day, and a long day, and I feel so bloated. The humidity is high, and it's going to be a hot day. Well, it's summer. It's supposed to be hot. So get on the positive bandwagon and say that verse from Psalm 118. This is a day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be happy in it. Now, another person said, well, life is so daily. That remark speaks volumes about the pressure, the responsibilities, and tension of daily life. It's persistent and insistent demand upon us, provocative of pressure. But how many dailies do we have left? We should make the most of them. Unfortunately, we have generations of Americans that are so accustomed to tension that they may, in our ordinarily unhappy state of mind that they travel in every day, and they're uncomfortable and comfortable sometimes with it. When I hear that expression, be happy, go lucky, I'm reminded that one minister said, there's no such thing as luck. Everything happens to you comes from above. For the last 5 minutes, and who's looking at their watch, I have not mentioned happiness once. I've been telling you people who are void of total happiness that if not happiness, that there are ways of achieving it. There was research in this field, and one study after a year's research and costing millions of dollars, they come up with the conclusion that physically well people have fewer illnesses. Now, isn't that something? Who would have thought that? Sometimes when Catherine and I are flying and we go through first class to get to the coach section, I'll say, excuse me, peasants coming through. Well, Catherine doesn't think this is funny. So I say, lighten up, you know. We don't know how to handle people who have energy and joy and are having fun. Well, we get suspicious. We think maybe they are on drugs or something is the matter with them. We don't look at our own faces, which are truly showing sort of a dysfunctional attitude toward this. Psychologist Fiscali used to say, how do you feel? People would say, fine. He would say, then why don't you tell your face? Smile. Then you look happy if you smile. We all have the ability to influence others, whether through our words or our actions or facial expressions. Christ gave happiness by giving himself. We need to laugh more. Unhappy people, they don't laugh. We need not to make things a big deal. We need to laugh. Lack of humor in one's life is an indication that depression is not far away. And when you're not laughing at all, you are considered clinically depressed. And then they do take you away, and you may have to make baskets and color and cut out paper dolls. So make your life rehab in advance. Whether you give a big toothy grin, there is an immediate connection to the brain. And now the brain says, I think we're happy now. This is called facial feedback. Your face actually has a lot to do with how your brain interacts with you. Now, if you close your eyes and do this for 3 minutes, it increases blood flow and makes a shift. When you open your eyes, raise your eyebrows. This makes you look tall and thin. And now you're happy. It also tells me you're awake. Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, says, laughter is the preservation of the soul. This is found to lower blood pressure through the humor. It has been found that once we start laughing and feeling good, the receptor side for the cold virus is blocked. So it's harder to get upper respiratory illnesses and colds. And one of the hardest things that you have to let go is that you are happy. You are happy. Helen Keller said, when one door of happiness closes, another one opens. Often we look too long at the closed door, that we may not see the one which has been opened to us. Happiness is not only something that makes us laugh, it is also the deep happiness of those who are constantly alert to the new wonders which God gives at every age of life. Now, Mr. Rogers of children's TV fame, and incidentally was a Presbyterian minister, had an inspirational meaning for every one of his shows, and we all remember how happy the children were. God doesn't always give us what we pray for, but he has reasons for not doing that. But that means that your prayers are not always going to be answered. Eventually, they probably will be. Timing may be wrong. I'm sure some students and even adults may pray before an exam and not study, and that would make them happy before they saw the exam, and then they felt bad afterwards. As the years go on, the enjoyments of life change. They are just as numerous as we will only seek to find them. Always remember that God will never let all the doors be closed, no matter what your age or what the condition may be. As you place your happiness on the altar, imagine yourself in a blessed state. And don't make the life short. Some things are need to be accepted at the moment and make the most of them. When you go on vacation and you look at your room and you don't like it, you'll say, I'm not going to have a good time. Well, maybe next year I'll get a nice room and I'll have a good time. Well, then you retire and you die and your family gets the money and they go on vacation and they have a good time. Do you know how many times Jesus made people happy with his miracles? The blind to see, the lame to walk, the lepers were cleansed and the deaf did hear, feeding the 5,000. And who could forget his first miracle at the wedding of Cana, turning water into wine? Can you imagine how much Zephyr Hills or Crystal Water would have paid Jesus to turn water into wine, let alone Welch's grape juice? I deem calling on the homebound and the sick to give them communion. That's a privilege. Imagine what they feel like, and we too. They have communion served to them means so much. They seem to gain a more positive attitude and their eyes light up. In a sense, they look happy. In some cases, it's a closure and they feel right with the Lord. It gives both of us a happy feeling. I don't know how many times as a hospital chaplain that I prayed with a terminally ill patient to envision what heaven was like. then a smile would come on their face, a smile of happiness. There are thousands of unhappy situations that require formulas to turn them into happy situations. And if you have faith and prayer in the Scripture, you will find the turnaround. When you pray, don't doubt. Well, that interferes with the results that you want. And my definition of faith is taking God at His word. This combination should be of help in your need of time. Now, in many places this time of the year, I believe school started last week, and maybe some begins tomorrow. I want to leave you with a story. School days. I want to leave you with a story of a little boy, 5 years old, and every morning when he woke, his mother would put his favorite costume on him, and he would jump off chairs and off the porch and off the couch, pretending he was Superman on his way to help someone in need. Well, one day his mother said, "We have to go down to the school and register you for kindergarten." So down they went, into the building they went. They found a teacher. She took them into the classroom. She set them down on a little chair, and she said to the boy, "What is your name?" And he said, "Superman." Well, she thought this was cute. And she said, "Well, I have a roll book here, and I want to put your name in the book like I do with the other children. So what is your name?" And the little boy said, "Superman." Well, she didn't think it was so funny this time. She looked over at the mother, who just shrugged her shoulders, and she said, teacher said, "Well, now, when the school bell rings and I close the door and I call out the roll, and if your name isn't in my book, then you will not be a student in my class. So now I'm going to ask you again, what is your name?" Well, the little boy got up off his little chair, leaned over and whispered in the teacher's ear, "Clark Kent." Well, let's